Welcome back, baseball fans. We are back for the 2008 and 2009 seasons to wrap up this decade, which has been full of disappointment in the playoffs for us. We've had to retool our roster several times, and although we started the decade off with the World Series victory, it was the last one we've achieved, and we've been making the playoffs, but we haven't been doing much since. Once we get in there, as you can see, 3 straight division series losses. We're hoping to turn things around to end the decade, but it's going to be a tough one. So in the 2008, this was the year the Phillies won the World Series by defeating Tampa Bay 4-1. I think it was Cole Hamels was the MVP of that series. American League MVP that year went to Dustin Pedroia. And then Albert Pujols won his second MVP for the Cardinals in the National League. Cliff Lee was 22-3 to win the AL Cy Young that year. And in the NL, it was Tim Lincecum with 18 wins and 265 strikeouts taking it. Rookie of the Year awards went to Evan Longoria for the Tampa Bay Rays, hitting 27 home runs. While for the National League, it was the Cubs' Giovanni Soto, who led rookies with 86 RBI in that one as the catcher. So we are going to hopefully see some gems of our own for our own team. So this is what we have in store. We have Ichiro Suzuki. We've got Beltre second, Ortiz third, A-Rod, Aramis Ramirez. Danny Batista is a new addition to us. We signed him to a 1-year contract to be our center fielder. Our left, and then Bernie Williams, we've signed to be our left fielder. I don't know how that's going to work out. Yachty's going to be our catcher to start. Greinke, Carpenter, Webb, Hudson, and Wainwright are the rotation. Well, we got Mariano Rivera closing things out again. We also have Burley back there ready to go if need be into the rotation because we don't know what Brandon Webb's going to do. This was his last great year, 22-7, and then just gone, which is really sad. So we got Delman Young back there, Willie Ibar, Mike Aviles. Not a lot of changes going on. As far as the Hall of Fame, let's take a look. I forgot to save that one in my own mailbox. But the Hall of Fame awards, I believe it was only one that got in again. Yes, it was Lou Whitaker. Lou Whitaker got in with 87.9% of the vote. He had 3,400 hits, 272 average, 84 WAR, 300 home runs, which is 60 more, way more hits than he had in reality. But he retired in 95 in real life. Played to 2002, the great old age of 45. Valenzuela showed up for his first year, didn't make it. Winfield at 9th year, 3,000 hits, 400 home runs, only 55 WAR must be holding him back. He is not going to make it. Candelaria got dropped. Mark Grace never had a shot. Apier, Dennis Martinez, Knobloch, all those guys getting a chance, but nothing to show. Tim Raines is really close. Ripken losing some support. So we'll see how things go. But I'm excited to see how this season goes, and I think we've got a shot, hopefully, to make some moves get to the playoffs and then make some moves when we're there. So let's jump to the All-Star break. Well, this season has been full of disappointment. 8.5 games back for us, 47-49. We are 6.5 back of the Pirates and Giants in the wild card. Meanwhile, Arizona is 5 up over the Giants, and the Mets yet again 3 up over the Nationals and Marlins. In the AL, it's Boston sitting 7.5 games up, winning 61 so far over the Yankees. The White Sox 2.5 up over the Tigers. The Rangers a half game up over the A's, and the Yankees sitting a half game up over the A's in the wild card. When we look at the league leaders, Maglio's making a run at 400. Hitting 398. Pujols is hitting 370 with his 35 home runs and 99 RBI. Jacoby Ellsbury, 27 stolen bases. Adrian Gonzalez is third in everything for the Triple Crown. And Ordonez, outside of home runs, is crushing it as well. Wow. OPS, it's 1187 for Pujols and a 6.2 batter WAR. Meanwhile, Guerrero put together a 26-game hitting streak. Matt Cain, a 2.66 ERA, leads the league with Roy Halladay and Josh Johnson both having 12 wins. Tim Lincecum, 139 strikeouts, and George Sherrill, 26 saves. Lincecum also has a 4.2 pitcher WAR, maybe going for that Cy Young. So is Pujols going for the MVP. Meanwhile, in the NL, it's Joe Mauer hitting 356, Carlos Pena with 25 home runs, Adam Dunn and Vernon Wells both have 69 RBI. Jose Reyes with 23 stolen bases. Bonds has a 1.003 slugging, hitting 21 home runs, and he's hitting 277. Did try to sign him, but he was wanting way too much money. We didn't have enough. A-Rod's having a good year, too. Jose Reyes with a 4.8 batter WAR. Wells, 29-game hitting streak. Kershaw is finding his way, on pace for probably Rookie of the Year honors. He's got a 2.50 ERA. Josh Beckett has 13 wins. Greinke's in second there. Scherzer with 139 strikeouts might be making a case for the Rookie of the Year himself. Billy Wagner with 26 saves, and Dan Herron with a 4.4 pitcher WAR. But Webb and Greinke are both up there, yet we can't win anything. When we look at the All-Star game and the All-Star, the Home Run Challenge, it was Cody Ross defeating Albert Pujols. Cody Ross. Okay. He maxed out at 24 home runs. He's got 21 right now. And last season, he hit 33 in ours. Interesting. Let's take a look at the All-Star rosters. Johan Santana gets the start in the AL. He has a 2.80 ERA. J.J. Putz gets the closing spot. Brian McCann, hitting 298, gets the catcher spot. Derek Lee, 16 home runs, 321 average. We do miss him. But we have Ortiz. Kelly Johnson, hitting 322, gets the second baseman role. Pujols at third. John Valentin at short. Ryan Braun in left. Beltran in center. Carlos Quentin in center as well. And Maglio Ordonez in right. Meanwhile, in the NL, Kershaw does make it. Dice K does as well, but John Smoltz gets the start. We have nobody there. Mariano Rivera does make it for us, but Papelbon gets the start. Joe Mauer at catcher. Ortiz at first. Like I said, we don't need Lee when we've got him. Jose Reyes at second. Mike Lowell at third. A-Rod at short. Bonds gets it in left. Matt Kemp in center. And Jason Worth in right. It's telling that we have hardly any all-stars there, which shows why we're doing what we are. We're ninth in runs scored. We're hitting the ball well. That's about it. We don't have many home runs. You would think we'd have more with A-Rod, Ortiz, Ramos Ramirez, and Beltre, but Beltre's been stinking it up. Starters are doing great. Bullpen's trash. Pitching WAR is really good, but our defense is also trash. So we've got to figure out what to do for some changes to hopefully make up something. Jimmy Rollins is on the trade block. That's interesting. He'd be a good addition at shortstop, but we don't need a shortstop. We need, unless he plays something else. What does he play? Just short. So that doesn't really help us. What we need is a DH. That's what we need. That would help us more than anything. But hopefully we can string something together here. If not, hopefully we just stink enough to get a top draft pick. I don't know who will be out there. We missed out on Kershaw, Scherzer, Verlander, all those guys. Hopefully we get somebody great with a better draft pick and not just eke our way back up just to miss out on the playoffs by a game or two. But we'll find out. Well, that season proved to be a disaster for us as we finished fifth place. 82 and 80 was our record. Luckily, we didn't get up to like 92 wins or something, and we get a decent draft pick this way. Maybe that will pay off. This was our worst season. First time since 1993, I think it was, that we did not make the playoffs, and first time since the 1980s that we won under 90 wins. So it was disastrous. I think it came down to our defense and our bullpen because starting pitching was pretty good. You can see our FIP was first, pitching WAR second, but our defense was atrocious. It wasn't good enough, and our bullpen was even worse, and so that was a disaster for us. We couldn't score runs either, so just everything, perfect storm for not getting anything done. But let's take a look at who won, and it was the Rangers winning their first ever World Series. First trip to the playoffs since 1998, beating out the Pirates, who, if you remember early on in this playthrough, in the simulation, every time they made the World Series, it seems like they won. So the Pirates won the first two. They were actually up 3-1, and then the Rangers stormed back. And the MVP was none other than Will Clark, who in reality retired after the year 2000, where he hit 345 and and 301 with Baltimore those 2 years. And so that's what he's been playing on since 2000. And if you look, he's kind of disappeared, but he's been getting roughly 20 home runs a season. He's hitting 290 to 300, basically. He's getting solid WAR. He's just been a solid player, and his first base skills are not that bad. And so the ageless wonder that is Will Clark was able to lead the Rangers to their first World Series. So the Red Sox also, they won 100 games. The Tigers won 92. The Rangers and the A's with 86 got in. But ours, we were up against the best two teams, or two of the best teams in there. But the Mets did not make it. The Nationals actually made it by a game over them and the Marlins with 85 wins. Pirates and Brewers, 96 and 95 wins, and the Diamondbacks with 98 wins. Let's take a look at the league leaders. It was Maglio Ordonez picking up the batting crown, hitting 356 over Pujols, who almost got the Triple Crown again. Albert Pujols did have 52 home runs and 154 RBI. Larry Walker at 51, still getting it done, even though he retired in 2005. This season, he hit 339 with a 5.8 WAR to 34 home runs. He is a surefire Hall of Famer on our run through, I'm sure, because of just he's been a model of consistency. And everything's been with Minnesota except for that last season going to Baltimore. Let's see. Jacoby Ellsbury, 43 stolen bases. Pujols, a 1109 OPS and an 8.7 WAR. I'm sure that means an MVP in his sights. Vlad had 26-game hitting streak. Justin Duscherer, 2.76 ERA. Let's see who this guy was for Oakland. Interesting. I don't know that name. He was a bullpen guy for most of the time. That's probably why. Let's see. Ryan Dempster and Roy Halladay both had 19 wins. Tim Lincecum with 239 strikeouts. George Sherrill with 44 saves. And Lincecum with a 7.7 pitcher WAR. In the NL, Joe Mauer got his batting title at 331, beating out A-Rod. Prince Fielder and Carlos Pena both had 46 home runs. A-Rod had 40. RBI, Manny Ramirez with 118 RBI. Jose Reyes with a 47-game hitting streak, while A-Rod with a 1025 OPS. Chase Utley, 7.5 batter WAR. And Vernon Wells with a 29-game hitting streak. Carpenter with a 2.65 ERA. Beckett had 20 wins. Giovanni Gallardo, 225 strikeouts. Papelbon, 42 saves. Rivera did okay, but his ERA was atrocious, and he was 1-8. Dan Herron and Zach Greinke both had 6-7 pitcher WARs. Brandon Webb, who has opted out of his contract, did well, but we are not going to re-sign him because he's going to be too much money, and he's a wild card when you look at what happens after 2008. I don't know how good he's going to be. He could be some kind of combination of this, but his ratings have dropped as well. His stuff has. So I don't want to spend that much money on him because we do have Mark Burley who can move into the rotation. So that's where we're at as far as that goes. Let's check out who won all of the awards. Well, we already see Pujols was the top player there. All right. Let's get to the Gold Gloves. In the AL, it was at pitcher Tony Armas. Chris Hoyles at catcher, who's definitely outplayed what he did with 1998, but he's been still going as one of the top catchers in the game, and 374 home runs, and he's got Hall of Fame votes he'll get, but not get in. Mark Teixeira at first, Mark McLemore at second, Nick Punto at third, Scott Brocious at short, and the outfield was Ben Zobrist, Cody Ross, and Skip Schumacher. In the NL, it was Tom Glavine for the Rockies, who is now retired. So after he left us, he was with the Angels, the Rockies, and Rockies. 232 wins. He did not get anywhere near his 305. 2,600 strikeouts in real life, 2,300 here. So he far short on the WAR category. Didn't get the awards. He's got some chances, but I don't think he'll get in. He did. Yeah, he pitched out the bullpen for us a couple near the end, too. Mike Redmond at catcher, Carlos Pena at first, Yunel Escobar at second, Mike Bordick at third, Marco Scutero at short. In the outfield was Vernon Wells, Will Venable, and Milton Bradley. Joe Nathan won the Reliever of the Year award, dominating for Detroit. I mean, he's been worth the money they spent on him, I guess, but we couldn't afford to keep him. 1.38 ERA and 72 strikeouts with 38 saves. In the NL, it was Jonathan Papelbon. Billy Wagner also picked up a couple of votes. We tried for him, but he was just too expensive for us. The Silver Sluggers went to Jorge Posada at catcher, hitting .313. He's a potential first baseman this year. Or not first baseman, free agent. Mark Teixeira at first, Kelly Johnson at second, Pujols at third, Michael Young at short. The Red Sox loading up there, and catcher. Johnny Damon in left, Carlos Beltran in center, Larry Walker again in right, and Carlos Quentin as the DH. In the NL, it was Tim Hudson hitting .283 for us at pitcher, Joe Mauer at catcher, Carlos Pena at first, Chase Utley at second, Evan Longoria at third, A-Rod at short, Manny Ramirez at left, Matt Kemp in center, and Shin-Soo Choo in right. Rookie of the Year went to Ben Zobrist, beating out Kurt Suzuki, Edinson Volquez, both getting first place votes. But Zobrist hit .250 with 28 home runs and a 110 RBI. Evan Longoria, who I believe did so, if we remember right, it was in real life, wasn't it? 36 home runs, 111 RBIs for the Rockies, helping them along the way. The Cy Young went to Tim Lincecum in the AL for the White Sox, beating out Justin Disher. 16-5 for him. And Josh Beckett, 18 first place votes, beating out Dan Herron. Eric Bedard got a first place vote as well. Verlander was third. But Beckett there, 269, 20 wins. That wasn't even his best year. It's coming off of what was his best year the year before. So he's got one, two, maybe 3 or 4 decent ones that might pop up along the way. But he's going to be quite the wild card, but he's going to be demanding big money. Pujols unanimously takes the MVP for his fourth one. First one since 2006. And it was A-Rod. Even though Shin-Soo Choo had more first place votes for the Pirates, it was A-Rod picking it up. Chase Utley got a few. Adam Dunn got a few. Josh Beckett, Prince Fielder, Barry Bonds, who hit 39 home runs. Where's he at? He hasn't retired yet. 919 home runs. That's just insane. It's insane. I did try to sign him, but again, he was too expensive. We didn't have the money to afford him. Let's take a look at the upcoming draft, and the big names in the draft are Goldschmidt, Trout, J.D. Martinez, Matt Carpenter, Jonathan Villar, Nolan Arenado, A.J. Pollock, Wilson Contreras, DJ LeMahieu, Koji Ura. Few Cardinals on this list. Goldschmidt, Carpenter, Arenado, Contreras at one point or other. They all made their way there. That's kind of exciting. The mock draft, we draft 15th, and we're expected to get Yan Gomez. Well, that's disappointing. Let's start this draft and see what happens. We'll see the other names as they come along. I'm sure there's going to be more. Eugenio Suarez, Patrick Corbin. There's some names out there. Will we get one is the question. Dallas Keuchel. He had a decent run. Again, it's amazing how some of these guys who have these big seasons and stuff every once in a while, they just don't turn into the big-time Hall of Famers that it seems like we're everywhere early on. and just like the consistency for long periods of time, even if they weren't Hall of Famers, just the consistency. But doesn't seem to be there anymore. Houston takes Mike Trout. No surprise. Goldschmidt goes to the Padres. The Braves get Koji Uhara. J.D. Martinez to the Mariners. DJ LeMahieu to the Blue Jays. Patrick Corbin to the Twins. Arenado to the Royals. Carpenter to the Rockies. A.J. Pollock to the Cleveland. Jonathan Villar to the Orioles. The Cubs get Brooks Raley. Jason Kipnis to the Phillies. Eugenio Suarez goes to the Angels. And Gio Urshela to the Dodgers. They say we should take Yan Gomez. Obi-Yan. Catcher, we already have Yachty. We definitely do not need him. So Wilson Contreras is out there. I mean, we know eventually he'll come onto the scene and do something. That might be our best. Oh, Kyle Seager. Not bad. His nickname's Corey's brother. Randall Grichuk. We definitely need to improve our defense over time too. So we need to draft well, start getting players who are going to actually just be able to fit together as a team with a few stars sprinkled in, because the other way has not been working for us. Chris Davis, he'll give us a bat for a few years, but that's it. Let's take a look at the pitchers. Trevor Rosenthal, again, few years of great pitching out of the bullpen, but then who knows what we'll get. Dallas Keuchel is there. Shelby Miller. I think we have to go with Contreras. We're going to get Wilson Contreras. It'll be a while before he's up there, but eventually he'll get there for us. Okay, so New York's going to take Dallas Keuchel. Maybe I should have gone with him. The Cubs, Miles Michaelis. Oh, I didn't even see him. Yan Gomez to the Rays. Brian Dozier to the Marlins. Domingo Santana to the Reds. New York, the Mets are going to take Eric Thames. Trevor Rosenthal to the White Sox. Justin Wilson to the Nationals. The A's pick up Robbie Ross Jr. Kirby Yates to the Rangers. Chris Davis to the Giants. Garrett Richards to the Tigers. The Brewers select Gregory Polanco. Kyle Seager goes to the Pirates. The Diamondbacks get Mike Minor. And with the last one of the first round, it was Felipe Vasquez to the Red Sox. So I will wrap up this draft and get ready to kick off the 2009 season. We have lots of money, $48 million available, $51 million for extensions. We are going to lose A-Rod. He's opting out. We just can't afford to keep him. Brandon Webb as well is going to be gone. Bob Wickman, Bernie Williams, Danny Batista. Everybody else is coming back for better or worse. But we have Ortiz. We got Beltre, who had a horrible season. Ortiz did well. Mariano Rivera is still there for us. Burley's going to be getting in the rotation finally. Hopefully he'll do much better than he has out of the bullpen. We have Ichiro to at least lead us off for a couple more years. Hudson's there. Greinke's there. Aramis Ramirez had a good season. Brzezinski's still there. Yachty's there. We got Chris Carpenter for a few more years after another stellar season for him. We got Wainwright locked in for a long time. Him and Yachty together. So we'll just we'll have to see. David Freese is on his way up. He got a little cup of coffee. So maybe we'll be able to put something together. Maybe we won't. But we'll find out. So let's get ready for the 2009 season. We are ready for opening day 2009, and we are hoping we've made the changes needed to get ourselves back into the playoffs and maybe make a run at the World Series to close out the decade that we started with a World Series win. It's the last one we've gotten. So in real life, this was a season that the Yankees took, I believe, what was their last World Series victory. They beat the Phillies in that one. The MVPs that year went to Joe Mauer in the American League and Pujols getting his third MVP in the National League. Zach Greinke, here we go. That's our guy. He won the AL Cy Young, winning 16 games. And then Tim Lincecum won the NL Cy Young to get it in back-to-back years, I believe. The rookies of the year went to Andrew Bailey of the A's, who was the closer that year, and the Marlins' Chris Coughlin, who was in the outfield and leadoff spot, hit 320 or so. So let's see if any of those are able to repeat what they did. As far as changes go, well, before we do that, let's take a look at the Hall of Fame. It was Mark McGwire in his first year with his 780 home runs getting into the Hall of Fame, bested his real total by 200, and he played roughly the same number of, he played more games though, so he didn't have as many injuries because same number of years. Tim Raines also got in on his third year, getting 2,700 hits, 1,600 runs, 740 stolen bases. Ripken just missed out on his fourth year. Winfield didn't get in. Ozzie Smith didn't get in. Andre Dawson didn't get in. So that is disappointing that some of those guys were not able to get in, and I don't know if a lot of these others are going to be able to do as well. So let's take a quick look at our team. We've got Ichiro leading us off again. Free agent signing Jimmy Rollins will be there for us. I'm a little nervous about this one. We've got him to a fairly long contract. He's got 6 years with us. I don't think it's too horrible of one because we've got 6 years left with the Phillies he had in real life. He won't be as good as he was, but we needed a shortstop, someone who could actually play defense for us. We did also make a move for Matt Holliday. We traded away Connor Gillespie, Peter Burgos, Ben Revere, Todd Redmond, Josh Tomlin, and Freddie Galvis to get ourselves Matt Holliday, and we are going to hopefully be able to negotiate an extension. This is around the time that he actually made his way in 2009 to the Cardinals, and we're hoping he's going to have a fantastic season and possibly career with us. That gives us better outfield defense. David Ortiz is a weak link at first base defensively. Aramis Ramirez, not his best at second. Adrian Beltre is solid at third. We have Shannon Stewart to play center for us. Again, not a big splashy name, but somebody who can play there for us. His range is and everything is great. And we've got Yachty at catcher. So our defense should be a little bit better this year. I'm not so sure, but we're going to hope. And then our rotation is Zach Greinke, Chris Carpenter, Adam Wainwright, Tim Hudson, and we're going to put Mark Burley in there, although J.A. Happ could be one that could move in there if Burley struggles. We have Arthur Rhodes still. We signed Carl Pavano. He's just going to be in the bullpen for us. Francisco Cordero is another addition to the bullpen. So we're going to see how these things work out. I don't know. We'll just have to find out. But there's only one way to do that, and that is to progress and hope we get there. And hopefully when we get to the All-Star break, we'll be in a good position. Well, the first half of the season has not been good to us as we are 43-49, 8 games out of first behind the Cubs, 7.5 behind the Dodgers for the wild card. So things are not looking good for us. Philly and Washington are both tied with 48 wins. In the East, the Giants are 7.5 up with 56 wins. And they are being led by Jose Bautista, Nick McLaughlin. I mean, their defense is way better than ours. That's the thing. And they're getting on base a lot better than we are. Jason Vargas is having a phenomenal season for them. Our runs against is horrible. 8th, not as bad. Our defensive efficiency, it started off much better and things have just gone down the hill. I thought we were doing better, but we aren't getting on base either. David Ortiz is really struggling, which is surprising to me. But anyways, Baltimore is 2.5 games up over the Red Sox. The Tigers 8 over the Royals, and the A's 5 up over the Mariners, while the Royals, Mariners, and Red Sox are all a half game up over Cleveland in a tight wild card race. At the break, we have Adrian Gonzalez hitting .361 and 31 home runs, 77 RBI, but that's behind Adam Dunn's 85. Kenny Lofton, who maybe we should have signed him. I almost did try to sign him for a year. Probably should have had him in center field instead because he is once again crushing it, having a phenomenal season and playing great defense. He's got himself 28 stolen bases. Gonzalez has a 1.142 OPS and a 5.4 batter WAR. Great season for him. Jason Kubel has a 28-game hitting streak, while Gavin Floyd has a 2.54 ERA, and Cliff Lee, 12 wins. Tim Lincecum, 142 strikeouts, while Joe Nathan and Ramon Troncaso both have 20 saves. But Cliff Lee is sitting with a 4-pitcher WAR. Meanwhile, in the NL, it's Joe Mauer hitting .356, maybe trying to get that MVP. Ichiro's up there with .346. Michael Kadire is at 27 home runs, while Nick Swisher has 74 RBI. Niger Morgan with 22 stolen bases. Jimmy Rollins is up there. Chase Utley with a 1.007 OPS and a 5.3 batter WAR. Hanley Ramirez has 20-game hitting streak, while Jason Vargas is at 1.94 ERA. Joe Pinheiro has 10 wins along with Wandy Rodriguez, while Clayton Kershaw has 131 strikeouts, barely besting Justin Verlander. Joakim Soria has 21 saves, and Anibal Sanchez a 3.7 pitcher WAR. Let's take a look at the All-Stars. It looks like Ryan Howard was able to win the home run derby, besting Alex Rodriguez, who in his first season away from us has come down a bit, so I'm glad we did let him go when we did. The All-Star teams, it's Roy Halladay getting the start for the Oakland A's in the AL. We've got Joe Nathan getting it at closer, while Brian McCann at catcher hitting .268. Adrian Gonzalez, no surprise there, the season he's having at first. A-Rod gets it at third. No second baseman getting the start. Dan Uggla makes the team, though. Rafael Furcal and Chipper Jones both at short. Probably one's going to play second. Adam Dunn at left. Carlos Beltran in center. Larry Walker in right. Again, the ageless one there. And Ben Zobrist in right. Meanwhile, Zach Greinke does make it for us with a 2-7 record. That's insane. He had such a good season, and he's not doing it. Oh, man. Dan Herron, though, gets the start. No one else for us. Mariano Rivera does finally make it in there again, but it's Jonathan Papelbon getting the start ahead of him. Joe Mauer at catcher, Martin Prado at first, Chase Utley at second, Troy Gloss at third, Hanley Ramirez at short, Manny Ramirez in left, Josh Hamilton in center, 314, 21 home runs, and Nate McLough in right, besting Michael Kadire, even though it looks like Kadire is having a better year, but defensively it must be Nate McLough because he has a 3.3 WAR. Torrey Hunter's doing great out there in center field as well. So we got a long way to go. Things are not looking good for us. We have this team still. We don't have to worry about free agents coming up. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Matt Holliday, we might try to re-sign. I guess we should. Maybe while we're having a bad season, we can get him. But everybody else is going to be coming back. That's key. That could be a bad thing, though, because we're not winning with them. So we'll see what we can do, and maybe we'll get some luck in the second half of this season. And the season wrapped up miserably. The end of the decade has not been good to us, as we had our worst record in a very long time, finishing below 500 at 79 and 83, 16 games behind the division-winning Cubs. The Rockies won the West by 8.5. The Phillies won by 8 over the Nationals, while the Astros took the wild card a game and a half up over the Diamondbacks. In the AL, it was the Red Sox with 88 wins, getting the East. The Tigers won 101, clearing Cleveland by 14.5 games, although Cleveland gets the wild card. In Oakland, 99 wins in the West. In the playoffs, it was Cleveland defeating the Tigers, Red Sox over the A's, the Rockies over the Astros, the Cubs over the Phillies, and the Rockies and Cleveland met in the World Series, with the Rockies winning their first World Series championship. Last time they were in the playoffs was 2005, and Cleveland continues their wait, with their last one being in 1972. Milton Bradley got the MVP for the Rockies, so it just goes to show you don't need to have a team full of studs and big-time players, which is why we're trying to redirect. Joe Mauer, though, did lead the way quite a bit for them. So let's see. Adrian Gonzalez got the batting title in the AL. Pujols had 51 home runs and 156 RBI, while Jacoby Ellsbury had 46 stolen bases. Pujols a 108.4 OPS and an 8.5 WAR. Jason Kubel had 28-game hitting streak. Josh Johnson with a 3.03 ERA, while Roy Halladay had 20 wins. Tim Lincecum with 245 strikeouts. And Joe Nathan, our former guy, leading the league in saves again with 40, taking Detroit to that 100 wins. Roy Halladay had a 7.3 WAR, barely besting Lincecum and Cliff Lee. Meanwhile, Colorado, Joe Mauer at catcher, 365. Ichiro was second. Ryan Howard had 44 home runs. Mike Lowell with 125 RBI. Niger Morgan, 49 stolen bases. Mauer with a 9.77 OPS, but Chase Utley had a 9.1 batter WAR. Matt Holliday had a 22-game hitting streak. Ted Lilly, a 2.66 ERA. Joe Pinheiro with 20 wins. Verlander, 237 strikeouts. C.J. Wilson with 38 saves, with Rivera right behind him. Finally getting a little bit better. Only 9 walks this season, just like he had 2 years ago. And Justin Verlander with a 7.3 pitcher WAR. Now, the awards are not done yet. You can see as far as our team goes, we finished 6th in runs scored. Quite a lot better. Runs against, we were 13th. And it was the starters this time getting rocked and the defense being horrible. So we need to continue to make changes to the defense. And the problem is we don't really have a lot of players that we can ship off. And so we're just going to have to see what happens. Now, the awards have not been done yet. Instead, we are ready for the draft. So Nick Castellanos, Christian Yelich, Jacob deGrom, and Steven Strasburg, Xander Bogaerts, Aroldis Chapman, Manny Machado. Lots of good players are out there. We are getting the 11th pick this time around. Scooter Gennett is expected to come to us. I would rather Manny Machado fall to us. Corey Dickerson's out there. He's more appealing than Noah Syndergaard as well. Let's shortlist him so we don't forget about him. Yasmani Grandal, Jerickson Profar, Jock Peterson. There are many names better than Scooter Gennett that are more appealing, but we will see who actually falls to us. All right, let's get this thing started and find out who's going where. Starting with San Diego taking Jacob DeGrom. Christian Yelich goes to the Rangers. Aroldis Chapman to the Blue Jays. Richard Rodriguez to the Twins. Steven Strasburg to the Braves. The Brewers get Xander Bogaerts. Tyler Thornburg to the Marlins. Zach Wheeler to the Reds. Manny Machado to the Yankees. Noah Syndergaard to the White Sox. Disappointing. Nick Castellanos. Not too shabby. Third base. That's not exactly what we need, though. But in 5 years, we could use him. So that is definitely potential. There is Scooter Gennett, but yeah, we already know we don't want to get hit. Corey Dickerson. Possibly Jock Peterson. We do not need. We could use a first baseman. We have Ortiz, but he doesn't play defense. What about Profar? Nope. Delino to Shields. Who is out here? Whit Merrifield. Get some speed. Again, I do think Castellanos. Let's take a look at our pitchers. Oh, what am I talking about? We got Chris Sale out here. Yeah, I think we have our guy here. Chris Sale it is. Carlos Martinez is out there as well. All right, we got Chris Sale. Nice to have you aboard. So let's finish out the first round here. New York, the Mets are going to take Nick Castellanos. JT Realmuto to the Devil Rays. Baltimore gets Whit Merrifield. Cam Bedroisin to the Nationals. Pirates select Brandon Belt. Scooter Gennett to the Angels. Corey Dickerson to the Royals. Jock Peterson goes to the Mariners. While the Dodgers pick up Yasmani Grandal. Cleveland gets Carlos Martinez. Jurickson Profar to the Giants. The Diamondbacks get Adam Eaton. I didn't know his nickname was Spanky. Jorge Polanco goes to the Astros. The Red Sox get Wander Serrero. Michael Felice to the Phillies. Gary Sanchez to the Rockies. Scott Alexander to the Cubs. Tyler Matzek to the A's. And to wrap up the first round, Robbie Erlin goes to the Tigers. So I'll finish up this draft. We'll do the rewards to wrap up the first decade of the 21st century. We are ready to wrap up this season and this decade. Now remember, it was Joe Mauer and Albert Pujols taking home the real-life MVPs this year, while Zach Greinke, Tim Lincecum took home the Cy Youngs, and Andrew Bailey and Chris Coughlin got the Rookie of the Years. So our Gold Gloves, we got Kyle Loesch, Jose Molino, Albert Pujols, Alexi Ramirez, Ryan Zimmerman, Wilson Valdez, Kenny Lofton, Colby Rasmus, and Dave Martinez. In the AL, while the NL, it's Jared Washburn, Lou Marson, Lyle Overbay, Adam Everett, Juan Uribe, Paul Janish, Shane Victorino, Tsuyoshi Shinjo, and Will Venable. AL went to reliever of the year unanimously to Mike Nakamura, 2.05 ERA, 99 strikeouts, 18 saves, and a 7-5 record. While in the NL, Ryan Franklin picked up 2, but Jonathan Broxton led the way with a 1.42 ERA and 112 strikeouts to go along with his 6 wins and 4 saves. Silver Sluggers went to Brian McCann, hitting 301. Pujols, 329, 51 home runs. Dan Ugla had 45 himself. A-Rod gets it again for the White Sox, his first year away from us, but he's on the decline, it looks like. Chipper Jones back in there at short. Adam Dunn, Carlos Gonzalez, Ben Zobrist in the outfield, and Stephen Drew gets it. And wasn't he one we traded away? We did. To get Rob Nin, which was solid for us, but now Drew, good to see him doing well. In the NL, it was Jason Marquis hitting 300 at the pitcher spot. Joe Mauer, Joey Votto, Chase Utley, Mike Lowe, Yunel Escobar, Shane Victorino, Torrey Hunter, and Jason Worth. Rookie of the Years went to Pablo Sandoval, He beating out Shelley Duncan, Neftali Felice. Sandoval had 91 RBI, 24 home runs, and a 284 average. While the incomers, it was Jason Vargas. None of the ones that made it in real life showed up, as Drupal Carrera got 3 first place votes, but it was the 14-9 Jason Vargas 3.0 ERA. In the Cy Youngs went to Roy Halladay, 25 first place votes, beating out Josh Johnson and Jake Peavy. Cliff Lee, or Tim Lincecum also got a first place vote, but quite far down there. While Justin Verlander beat out Felix Hernandez and Ted Lilly and Jonathan Broxton to get it in the NL, as he was 17-10 with a 3.18 ERA. Pujols gets another unanimous one, his 5th one. Crazy how good he is. And Chase Utley, with Joe Mauer picking up one first place vote, but Chase Utley picks up his first one, having a fantastic season with that 9-1 WAR leading the league. So that's going to wrap up this decade for us. We will be back next time to take a quick look at some of the awards, or some of the historical standings as far as where the leaderboards in the career are, see where Bonds has ended up and how far ahead, and some of these other places. As we get ready to enter the 2010s, we are now just 16 years away from concluding this simulation, and so be sure to tune back in next time. Until then, take care, and we'll see you on that next episode.